While the code I have right now is functional, it makes my robot go forward for a given distance. It's not ideal because it takes 3 lines of code. I have to tell it to go forward, I have to set an amount of time, and I have to remind it to stop. It won't do that on its own. I'm going to go ahead and create a function, another function that does all 3 of these things. So right below forward, I'm going to type forward time. And this function is actually going to include what's called an argument. Now I could say byte time, but the problem with this is the maximum amount of time I'd be able to go forward would be 255 milliseconds. That's not even a full second. I could say int, and then the furthest I could go forward would be a little over 32 seconds, because it goes up to it ranges from negative 32,000 some odd number to positive 32,000 something or other. But my robot's never going to go a negative amount of time, so it seems like kind of a waste to use what's a regular int. I could use unsigned int. And if I look at the reference material, I see that this is just, it has the same range as the regular integer variable. It's just it starts at 0 and goes to 65,535. So I could travel 65 seconds, a little over 65 seconds. If you really want to make your robot go a long ways by time, you can use what's called an unsigned long, and it'll let you go forward for 4 million seconds. And there's 4 billion milliseconds here, so that's 4 million seconds, which would be a little over 46 days. For our purposes, an unsigned int is going to do exactly what we need. And we're pretty much just going to type what we have down below, which is forward. So it's going to actually call this function, we'll call this function, and then we're going to delay. But instead of delaying for a given amount of time, like 1,000 milliseconds, we are going to erase the 1,000 and put in time. So whatever gets passed into this argument will actually be read here, and it will change. We can change the amount of time that we delay. So then after I do that, I'm going to stop my robot. And to fix my white space, I'm hitting again Control T. All right. Let's go ahead and try this on a robot and see how it works. Oh, before we do that, we need to actually change the code that we're using to call it. So now instead of using forward, I'm going to use forward time. And I'm going to set it to go for, I'll say, 2,000 milliseconds this time. I'm going to load it to my robot. Alright, and now when I go to run it, it should stop all by itself, which it does. Alright.